Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the Zodiac sign of Leo in the month of November 2018. Hello, Leo. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well. If you guys recently celebrated Halloween, I don't know if I said it in the October reading, so I'll say it now. Happy Halloween, or happy belated Halloween. I don't think anyone ever says that, but if you had one, if you were celebrating, if you went out and had a good time, I hope it was great. For November, if you're celebrating Thanksgiving later this month, happy Thanksgiving to you. And if you're not doing any of that, maybe you're an international viewer. Thanks for coming anyway, and happy to see you. Wow, look at that. Oh. I'm not going to take that because I didn't start the reading or anything, but somehow the Knight of Cups was turned over in the deck. So that might be significant to some of you guys out there. Wow, and on the bottom was the Hierophant card when I noticed that Knight of Cups. So some of you might have a love relationship with a Hierophant person or a person who's a Taurus, or there might be a Taurus of significance. Something involving like an emotional connection with a Taurus, you know, or an emotional offer coming from a Taurus, or you're making one towards a Taurus. Who knows? Anyway, so we did not really begin the general reading, but those two things just kind of came out, so fun times there, Leo. Anyway, if you're an international viewer, you don't celebrate any of those holidays or either of those holidays, you're welcome here as well, and I hope just everything in your life is going grand and smoothly and is full of joy and happiness, right? Anyway, Leo, main spread is there. What I'm going to do now is shuffle for your outcome and your overall energy. Once all cards are out and they're lying face up, that's when the reading begins. You can check the description box below for the timestamp. And then you can go ahead and jump ahead if you want to skip over all this rambling that you've endured for about, what, a minute just now? Also in the box below is information on how to get a personal reading with me if you feel so inclined. Wow. This deck, okay, if I'm honest, Leo, but you're the 5th Zodiac sign. I did the 4 other ones earlier this week, and things came out fairly easily. The deck wasn't misbehaving in any type of way. It wasn't super hard for me to navigate or whatever, but Leo, it's a little sticky here. There's been a few, like how a bunch just turned over in my hand like that while I was just doing my intro speech. It's interesting. There's a lot of energy, I feel. Like there's this feeling of impending is what I'm feeling. So you've got this long intro. Hopefully you're still with me. If you are, let's go ahead and get your outcome for November 2018, please. Leo, outcome November 2018. Let's go. There it is. Alright, and your overall energy comes from the bottom of the deck. Alright. Let's split these other two and see what's going on. What? Oh my god. This is going to be an interesting one. I always come into these and I'm like, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, as if I've ever done a 30-minute video. I'm like, yeah, let's just, you know, make it quick as possible. Can never be quick. And this is not going to be quick. All right, so where's Leo in November 2018? Please show me where Leo is in November 2018. Here? Okay. All right, Leo. So coming into November 2018, you come in as the 2 of Cups. Ay. I'm saying I'm like reacting this way because you know, it's morning now. I've had a cup of coffee. I've had breakfast. I'm awake. I'm alert. But this just there's this feeling of you know, or here we go. You know, it's just something about this spread, and then when I started dealing with the cards, just this I said impending, right? Like this feeling of, I feel good, I feel fine, but like something could come and like destabilize that, or like throw it out the window or something like that. And so with the Two of Cups, traditionally this is one of the soulmate cards. It's about having an innate, natural connection with another person. Typically, a lot of people will think of soulmates and think of them as romantic partners, but if you've been with me for a while, you know that my personal interpretation of soulmate is not always romantic. It can be platonic. I've mentioned in one or two previous videos, among the hundreds that I've been done so far, you know, one of my soulmates is my sister, and I have another soulmate who's a best friend of mine. So you can have many soulmates, but so don't. Personally, when I do my readings, when I say soulmate, unless I say only romantic, don't take it that way. So, but the Two of Cups can talk about that, can talk about having this really close connection with another person and having that connection feel really sort of natural, really just, you can't shake this person, you know, or thinking about them, feeling connected to them. Again, regardless of whether you're romantically involved or not. And you just, in many ways, adore this person and they adore you. And I feel like that's kind of like the basis of your connection. Like, despite any troubled waters, despite any disagreements, you just have this connection with this person that will last a lifetime or beyond a lifetime, especially if you think of what soulmates are, or, you know, what you might... I think we all have a nuanced definition of what a soulmate is and how we come to exist in this world. But if you have any thoughts on how soulmates might connect outside of this world, I think this person is one of them. And who this person is, I don't know. Like I said, it could be romantic, could be platonic, not sure just yet. But you're in this space of, I think, desiring a connection with this person. If you know them or not, you might not know this person. You might not have met them yet. For others of you, you have met them and you know them. You may or may not be close with them, but regardless of the status of this relationship, it's a desire to be closer, to understand one another, to agree, even if you agree to disagree. Does that make sense? Like, even if you guys are having a fight, like, let's say this is a friend of yours, let's say it's a relative of yours, and maybe, you know, over the course of your relationship, you have had your ups and downs. You might be in a down period right now, but that doesn't mean you want to toss this relationship away or you want to forget the good times. Like, you are taking the good with the bad and you just want there to be sort of like this copacetic, peaceful energy between you. Even if you have to disagree, even if you have to be at odds with one another, even if you don't speak or you can't hang out or whatever it is. You're just like, look, I'm not trying to have any bad blood between us. I just want us to be cool. Can we be cool? And I feel this is mostly your position. I feel that your position, Leo, is really one of, I'm cool. Are you cool? You know, I said what I said. I have apologized, or I stand by what I said and I'm not going to fully apologize. But can we be cool and just move on? And I'm like sort of inserting this... Well, actually, I see it there. Okay, never mind. Because I felt like, for a second, I felt like, am I inserting some type of negative history between you and this other person? I'm like, then I look down. I'm like, oh, no, I'm not. So there is this backdrop or background or kind of just this undertone of things have not always been rosy and bright with this person. And again, if you've been with my channel for a while, or if you follow other readers who speak similarly of the soulmate experience, it's not always great, you know? It's not a cookie cutter Disney Hallmark, you know, double rainbow experience. Soulmates are not here purely for the joy, purely for the happiness and the love and the connection and the bonding. A lot of times, soulmates are the most aggravating people you will ever know in your life. And again, I'm going to refer right back to my sister. Love you, sis. She won't be watching this anyway. But anyway, I love my sister to death. But man, over the years, throughout the time that we've been knowing each other, she's been aggravating to me, and I've been aggravating to her, and we've hurt each other, and we've argued, and we've made each other cry, or you know, got pissed off at each other, whatever. We are still soulmates. I still love her indefinitely. I will always love her, but if she doesn't drive me up a wall, I would be lying. So this Two of Cups soulmate connection that you have, that you know of, or that you're desiring, is not going to be, has not been something that has been incredibly easy. It's been trying at times. It's been hurtful at times. It's been, like I said, aggravating. And I think, again, you're okay with that status, or you're okay with that reality of the situation or of the relationship, Leo. You very much are like, okay, we had a fight. I'm okay. Are you okay? Or we haven't talked for 2 years. Or I'm okay. Are you okay? You know, or we're with each other all the time, and you know, that can be suffocating, and I just need a little bit of a break. It doesn't mean I want to break up, but you know, whatever your situation is, you're coming to it, or rather your side of things, Leo, is very like open book. Here are all my flaws. Here are all the things that I've done to you, that I've said that maybe I shouldn't have said. Here are all the things that I think you shouldn't have said to me. And let's just acknowledge everything and then move on with our connection. Whether we are becoming closer together, whether we're going to move apart, whatever is next for you, you're just open to it. But I think the most important aspect is that you want this Two of Cups relationship, again, romantic or otherwise, to be acknowledged. You feel it. Do they feel it? I think we're soulmates. Do you believe that we're soulmates? You know, I feel that we're going to be friends forever, even though we haven't spoken to each other for 8 months. You know, or I did something really terrible to you, or you did something terrible to me, and we had a big falling out. I think we can repair this relationship because I think we're connected. Do you agree or do you disagree? So I feel like you want to be acknowledged by the other person. And if not by the other person, then you want the universe, the world around you to kind of give you affirmation of, aha, that is how we're connected. That is why this person is in my blood. This is why this person is in my head all the time. This is why my heart is full when I think of them. This is why, you know, you just want a fuller understanding from that person. And if that person can't give it to you, that confirmation or affirmation, you want it from the world around you, the universe, God, your spirits, your guides, your angels, whatever you believe in, whoever you believe in, okay? Now, that's where you're sitting, right? Surrounding you, you have a lot of heavy stuff. And I feel like a lot of it is history, but then I also feel like a lot of it is in the present. And it might be... Okay. I feel like there's a division just straight across. And if you've, again, been with my channel for a while, you know I'm not one of these readers that read from left to right or, you know, everything. This is past, this is present. I don't do that. It's really what I'm led to do. It's EmpathicFire for a reason. I'm led through my intuition from what I'm talking about here. So, intuitively, this feels like a split. You're down here in your own little row doing your own thing here. And up here is the other person. Up here is the other half of your situation. I don't know why I had to clarify it that way. Oh, okay, thank you. Because I'm like, other person, clearly another person. By me saying other half, they've clarified that would apply to the people, the Leos out there who haven't met this person yet or aren't really sure who fully would be their Two of Cups person. You think, like, maybe you've got, like, 2 or 3 people in your mind. You're like, could it be him? Could it be her? Could it be... I was going to do an old SNL joke there. Anyway, you're not 100% sure on the identity of the person that this is really hitting home for you. And if this isn't hitting home at all, I mean, look at the board. This is going to be a very interpersonal. This is not about career. If you're here looking for information about Leo's career, I don't see it. This is not I mean, maybe a little bit with the Emperor, but we'll talk about him eventually. But I'm not really feeling that, so sorry. But, so, Leo, you're down here in the bottom row. Where are we going? Up or down? Yeah, we're going to stay down here. Okay. All right, so right next to your starting position, you have the Temperance card. Oh, are you not going to focus the way I want you to focus? There we go, a little bit better. All right, so Temperance card right next to your starting position. Card of Sagittarius, so there might be a Sagittarius in your midst who is important to you, but does not have to be. The important thing is the energy of the card and some of the characteristics that belong to Sagittarius. And what I'm led to talk about is a little bit of the card and a little bit more of Sagittarius, I think. So the card talks about healing. It talks about having balanced perspective. Why did I say it that way? Perspective, excuse me. And it's about really feeling at peace with yourself, at one with your surroundings, at one with nature in some form or extent. And just being really calm, even though you're really focused or driven, right? Because, I mean, you look at it. It's an angel in a robe, right? Foot placed in water, wings spread out and everything like that. And that's very serene, right? There is this feeling of serenity. But then also in the third eye space, oh, there you go. In the third eye space of the angel, you've got this shining, beaming light. Almost looks like a coin is like placed on the angel's head. So there's tenacity or focus or drive behind your calmness. So a lot of you Leos might be mindfully working on your business, getting centered, getting your chakras aligned, balancing your emotions, balancing your heart, getting into meditation, getting into proper eating habits, proper sleeping habits, everything like that. Seeing a therapist or going to see a counselor or just journaling, whatever you need to do to get through your stuff, to process your day in, day out routine, to find some deeper meaning of your life, of your existence, you're really on it. Like, you're so focused on that nobody can really get you off of that perch, so to speak. So if you've been on a spiritual journey, you know, a cliched spiritual journey in quotation marks, right? If you've been on that journey, I feel you've been there for a while. And if you haven't been doing it for a while, you're just going to get going with gusto. You're really going to go out there and be like, damn it, I'm getting aligned. I'm getting my chakras in balance. I'm going to be meditating 15 hours a day. Like, you're going hardcore into whatever you need to do to heal yourself. Now, I'm saying a lot of sort of like, quote unquote, like hippy dippy kind of stuff. If your way of meditation or your way of finding calm and peace in your life is to travel every weekend, like go out and do, you know, the farmer's market, take a little road trip, you know, a 3-day weekend, whatever. If your way of finding peace is to be more active, that also works, because that would be an element of Sagittarius, which I told you is also at play here with this card. Sagittarius is a sign, a fellow fire sign of yours. Oh, wow, I just noticed that. Thank you for pointing that out as I look down. Fire. So you're in your element. Anyway, so Sagittarius is definitely finds peace and calm and purpose and fulfillment in their lives when they're on the go, when they're moving, when they're adventuring, when they're getting into new endeavors, new events, things like this. So if you find yourself feeling calmer, even though your schedule is busier, is fuller, that's okay too. Not that it wouldn't be okay, but that makes sense too for what I'm trying to say. However you slice it, Leo, if you need to be in your Zen garden for 10 hours a day, or you are out, you know, partying in the middle of San Juan on a Thursday, you know, and you live in Kansas. If that's the life you lead and you feel peaceful and fulfilled, that's correct as well. Either way you go with this. And that, like I said, has been your focus recently. Like, as much as you're here with the Two of Cups and you're desiring this connection with another person, with the person you're thinking about, or someone who could fill the description of what the Two of Cups is to you, you've also been here very strongly in the Temperance card, doing the work on yourself. If I'm going to have a Two of Cups experience, or if I'm going to make my current soulmate connection better, I have to make myself better, and I have to come out and be my most authentic, yet most appreciative and most generous and most gracious person I could be. Like, you're really trying to fine tune who you are, what you are, how you present yourself to people, not just this Two of Cups person, but the world at large. And you're making sense of, you know, your character traits. Like, going back to what I said here in the Two of Cups, you're not going to come off for a split second, Leo. You're very smart this way. You're not going to try to present yourself as an angel. You're not going to talk to people, old friends, new friends, whoever, and say, I'm perfect. Even though I think, you know, Leos get that rap, right? Oh, egotistical, so full of yourself, you think you're the best. To an extent. A true Leo, and I'm subjective to this because I am a Leo too, knows that I'm not perfect. I will tell you, I'm not. Any Leo that tells you that they are perfect, they're doing it in jest, they're joking, or they're hiding their insecurity of the reality that they aren't perfect, but they wish that they were, or they try their best to be, and they realize that's kind of, you know, silly. You shouldn't aim to do that. But anyway, so as much as you want to have this connection with someone else, and you want it to be a great thing, you're also not going to come to that connection and come to that person saying, I am the best thing since sliced bread. You should be close to me. We should have this bond. It will be perfect from beginning to end. No. Leo, you're smart. You know yourself. You're working on yourself. And you're like, hey, we're not going to bat 1,000 here. We're not going 100%. I can guarantee you, or I can try to guarantee you, about an 80% chance of goodness. Like, 80% of the time, I'm going to be chill. 80% of the time, I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be fun. I'm going to be interesting. I'm going to be sexy. I'm going to be all these kinds of things. 20% of the time, I'm going to be a total dick. 20% of the time, I'm going to be a sad sack. Whatever your misfortune is, or whatever your flaws are, you're open about it. And like I said, I think that's sort of also a characteristic of Sagittarius that I know. As much as all the fire signs are confident, like, that's just part of the sort of the makeup or the DNA of a fire sign is confidence. But Sagittarius, unlike Leo and unlike Aries, is more willing to put their flaws out there first to avoid people getting involved. Does that make sense? So a Sagittarius will say, I've got bad spending habits. You should know that up front. Getting into a relationship with me, becoming friends with me, I overspend, or I'm cheap. Like, I will not tip when we go out to dinner. I'm just, like, not a tipper. You know, and I mean, not like in the first time that you meet them, but it becomes clear quickly what the flaw of the Sagittarius is. Leo will hide it a bit, try to downplay it, or, you know, spin it and saying, hey, because I don't tip, that means I have more money saved. Haha. And Aries will be like, yeah, I don't tip, but that's because this and this. And they make excuses for their flaws. And no offense to any Sagittariuses or Aries who might be watching this, or even Leos. No offense to anybody, but those are like the nuanced differences of the fire signs. Very confident, but when it comes to flaws, Sagittarius will put it up front and say, this is what it is. Do you want to rock with me or do you not? Leo will try and downplay it and make it like not a big deal. It's no big deal I don't tip. They should get a different job anyway. And I'm not trying to say that I've done that, because I don't. I tip. But There are people out there who are like, tipping is for idiots. Anyway, and Aries will again, like, try to, you know, make it like it's not a flaw at all. It's like perfectly okay. You know, they're hard to recognize that that is not cool, what they're doing. So the Temperance card. Ownership of what is good about you, what is bad about you, what is positive about you, what is negative, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. All in your personal development, all in who you are as a person, Leo, as an individual. That's what you're actively working on. And you, like I said, you've been here for a while, or like I said, you're going to dive in deep if you haven't done that yet. And I think that's helpful because another part of the Temperance card is healing. And there is a need to heal here. You are talking about matters of the heart. You are talking about interpersonal connections with other people. And if you have ever talked to another human being at length, you realize other people are hard to deal with. Anybody who's not you can be quite... Anyway, the human experience, from my perspective, is very trying at times. So you need to have balance, you need to have healing, you need to be calm and collected and peaceful when you're getting into higher levels of personal development or just going through certain phases in your life. So Leo, you're tender-hearted, you're open, you're honest, you're strong and reserved, you're all those things together. And I think a lot of you are just coming to this massive realization of, I want to be with another person or other people. If it's more than like one soulmate, it could be, and like I said, it doesn't have to be romantic, it can be a friend. I want to be close to people. I don't mind being vulnerable with people, but at the same time, I don't want to come off like this. And I don't want this to be a factor in our downfall or in the aggravation in the situation between us. I just want everything to be as mellow and chill as possible. Now, on the far side of where you're starting with the Two of Cups, you've got the Emperor card. And like I mentioned a few minutes ago, this is the card of Aries, which is the other fire sign. So aside from the Two of Cups, but you might as well say that you're there in the Two of Cups. This whole row is full of fire, is just total fire signs. So you're in your element with the Temperance card, with the Emperor card, and with yourself being in the Two of Cups. There's just this... I feel like there's a swelling of energy. I feel like there's this building of energy. There's this amalgamation of intensity, but it's actually contained. Not contained in a way of restraint or contained in the way of holding back. It's contained as in, I know how impactful my spirit is, or my energy is, or my words are, my actions. I know how far-reaching my actions and behaviors and speech can be. I will not use them unless absolutely necessary, or I will not release them until the time is right. There's something about releasing, and there's something about building to a release. And the Emperor card, I think, is here, and he kind of has ownership over that aspect, or plot in this storyline. The Emperor is very much about control, is very much about dominance. He's very much about maintaining his integrity and maintaining the status quo, because the integrity and the status quo not only benefits him, but benefits the situation or everybody involved. So this idea of holding tight to the reins, but not so tight that you choke it, that you choke the situation, or you choke the horse, or you choke whatever. It's like, it's kind of a nuanced, very delicate, very delicate difference, like I said, between like having a firm hold or having a choke hold. The Emperor can have a choke hold. Excuse me. It's definitely within his ability to do that. But Leo, I'm not feeling that with you, especially with these two cards outside of the Emperor. There's a certain tenderness surrounding him. You know? This card has come out, you're the 5th reading. I think this card has come out in every single reading. So the energy of Aries or an Aries person might be significant to you. But regardless of whether you know an Aries or they're close to you or not, like I said, it's really about the energy. And the energy of Aries is very much, excuse me, I'm sorry, is very much having measured control, not being a tyrant, although the Emperor can be. The lower qualities or the lower vibrational point of an Aries or of the Emperor can be tyrannical, can be maniacal and very much manipulative and all that kind of stuff. But on the higher frequency of the energy or the higher frequency of the Aries energy, there is this idea of firm diplomacy, like tough but fair. Tough but fair. And I feel that from you, Leo. You're tough. You're not anybody's fool. You've learned some lessons from maybe this person up here. We're going to talk about them in a moment. Or maybe you've just, over the totality of your life, you've been on this earth for 50-something years, 40-something years, 20-something years even. And from what you've learned over that period of time, you're taking in account everything. And it makes you tough but fair. You're not a victim. The Emperor is no victim. The Temperance card won't allow you to be a victim. And the Two of Cups is, like I said, you're owning your stuff. So there is this idea of being open, but not being so open as to be taken advantage of, to be played a fool, to be manipulated, to be hurt again. Again, I use the word again. So for some of you, this is like a repeated cycle, or there might be a repeat in terms of this relationship. Like you might know this person already. Like I said, you may have known them for a long time, but you've fallen out. You haven't spoken for months or years to this person. Or, if you believe in karma, it could be like a karmic cycle that you're repeating, stuff like that. But you're open, you're soft, you're vulnerable, but not so much that you're defenseless. The Emperor could defend. He can be on the offensive and the defensive. He's a very versatile person, this Emperor. If it's not you, even though I feel it's mostly you, like this is heavily where you are, Leo, in this bottom row. But if it's not you, I'm not even going to say that. It has to be you. It has to be. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, why am I making this possibility? Is it anybody else? Could it be anybody else? I mean, yes, it maybe the person you're dealing with is an Aries, so maybe you both share this energy, but I feel it's mostly you, Leo. It's mostly you. Like, a high percentage of you guys. A high percentage. Like, I don't normally like to quantify, but like 90-something%. Boom, this is you. Where you would be very good at offense or defense. If you have to defend yourself, cool. If you have to go out there and make the first move, or if you have to go out there and show a little bit of a hard edge to kind of let people know where you stand, you can do that too. And so I feel, like I said, this energy, what did I say a little bit ago, is like swelling, but it's contained. It's expanding, it's getting bigger, you're compiling more, you're becoming more, like I said, calm and centered with yourself, and your spirit, your soul, your energy, whatever, however, you feel bigger. Not necessarily physically bigger, but you feel like a swelling about you in a good way. Not like a swelling like bloating or anything like that, but or like, making gains, getting them LBs in, not like that. But you do feel this swelled energy, and it's not ego, it's not an ego swell, but it is a spiritual central swelling. But it's contained. It's not like firing off everywhere and you can't control it. You are in firm control of what's going on with it. It's very interesting. Now, up top, this other person, your other half, whoever it is, you know them, you don't know them, they're one person or could be more than one person, because again, you can have more than one soulmate. But regardless, the central energy is a little destabilized, it's a little broken, or it's a little injured. And I think that's all I can see for now. I haven't touched any of these cards, so we'll see when I get there. But I'm just feeling this energy of like I said, disabled, broken, feeling just incomplete in some cases, astray, like lost, something like that. And it's not opposite of where you are, it's just like askew, like like slightly off from where you are. This person is not directly opposite. If you're like directly opposite of you, given what we just talked about, would be somebody who's, you know, doing too much, indulging in everything. They're being egotistical, they're being manipulative, and they're not owning their faults. They're not owning their garbage or their baggage. They're not, you know, they would be very much deflecting and avoiding things. I'm not sensing huge avoidance here or deflection. I'm sensing like reluctance, a little bit of embarrassment or sorrow or guilt, things like that. I need to pick a card, or we need to start somewhere, because this is all like, it's coming from all these different areas. Now, where are we going? Okay, thank you. All right, so for their side of things, Three of Swords is at play. And this is definitely, you know, if you've been with tarot for a while, or you've been with my channel for a while, you kind of know this card. It's generic interpretation: heartbreak, heartaches, backstabbing, betrayal, cheating, third-party situation, all those kinds of things. And all of that might apply to you. But again, if you've been with me for a while, or if you've just met me, I'm more of an empathic, intuitive reader. I don't always go by what the book says or by what, you know, like I said, the generic interpretation or teachings of the card is. So yeah, some of that might be true. Third party situation, cheating, betrayal, heartache, all that. And I'm cool. What's more at play here, because again, this is the other person's line. This is where they are. They feel this. So as much as third-party situation or heartbreak might have resonated with you now or at some point previous or whatever, this is more in line with they are in a third-party situation. Maybe they have been betrayed, heartbroken, whatever. And if they haven't experienced that, or if they haven't acted on that and been the creator of such energy, they are holding this energy. There's more interpretation on their side, I think, because you all will have different partners and you all have different soulmates, again, platonic, romantic, family, friends, whoever, right? There's like an anguish here. Like, I'm just now being led to look at those clouds and the storm behind the heart. I mean, because a lot of times when this card comes out, I think people might wince at it or be like, oh no, because, you know, the swords are stabbing that heart. But what I'm drawn to talk about today is the storm behind that. There's this, and I shouldn't laugh because that was a terrible time to laugh, but they always throw visuals in at me. There's this cloud, this immovable cloud on this person's side of things. And the reason I laughed is because the image that they gave me was of that cartoon character Pigpen from Peanuts, aka from the Snoopy character or cartoon or whatever. And Pigpen he's got a cloud around him. It's not a storm cloud, but he does have a cloud of dirt and funk and nasty because he's a gross kid, right? And other kids they can only be around Pigpen for so long because he's foul, because he smells, because he's dirty, whatever. So there's this energy around this person that is similar to that. People can only stand it for a certain amount of time. And then eventually it's too much to bear and the other people have to leave, or the other people have to kind of snap back or react to this energy that surrounds this person. So you might have a soulmate, Leo, who is just in a certain way doomed. Oh God, why doomed? Why? I didn't really like that word, but that's where we were. Doomed. Negative. They themselves might be negative. They themselves might have a negative disposition or controversial disposition is what they want me to say. Controversial. There's something about them that is not the easiest to withstand. Naturally, this person just comes with this. Now, okay, thank you. Getting back to the idea of the storm cloud. So sometimes, for some of them, it's just a personality clash. They just have a personality that a lot of people can't get along with. For others of them, I'm getting that it's an energy of, again, going back to the storm cloud, fogginess, some type of cloudiness or fogginess in their mind, in their heart, wherever. There's uncertainty. There's something that isn't diagnosed. Thank you, diagnosed. That needs to be. That needs to be addressed. That needs to be focused on. That needs to be, driving into the eye of the storm, basically. So there might be a behavioral problem or behavioral issue. There might be a habitual issue with this person. They might have a habit, however you want to interpret habit, that needs to, in some way or fashion, be broken or somehow treated or somehow investigated. Okay? Troubled. This person is troubled. And they know they are. And that could be why the heart would be stabbed and the heart is kind of, in peril, because they know their storm is there. They know they have this cloud, this fog, this funk that follows them around wherever they go. They know that there's this consistent fouling up of things that happens when they get involved in relationships or whenever they go out and they hang out with their friends or whenever they come to the family barbecue, the family reunion. Holidays are coming up. This is a reading for November, so every time I come to the house for Thanksgiving, shit just goes crazy and I'm somehow involved. They know this dark cloud follows them everywhere. And I think I said, what did I say? Embarrassment or guilt or something like that? So a lot of them have this knowledge, Leo. And notice where this is in relation to you. This card falls right above your Emperor card. And what did I say about the Emperor? He can deal with it. Let me go back to him real quick. The Emperor, because I pointed it out for someone else, and I'm going to point it out to you. The Emperor sits on this throne that he has cultivated and secured for himself. This stone throne that he sits on. But then he's in his little robe, so he looks like he's just chilling at home. But also, look, he's not wearing, princely or kingly slippers. He's got his crown. Does he have a scepter? He's got his scepter and everything like that. But underneath that, he wears his armor. So even when he's at rest, at home, legs are supposed to be kicked up. He's supposed to be chilling out, letting his kingdom run itself. He still is ready to go at a moment's notice. He's ready to do war. He's ready to put up a fight. He's ready to go out there, mount his horse, and do what he needs to do. There's this willingness and readiness on your side of things, Leo, coming right underneath or in relation to this person's dark cloud, their storm, their funk, whatever baggage they bring to you, you can deal. Whether or not you want to, that's a different story, but you can. The Emperor isn't a card of willingness or what does he want to do. It's a matter of what he can do. He can persevere. He can weather the storm. He can make it out of the battlefield alive. He's the Emperor, for God's sakes. He's got a long beard while he's sitting on that throne. He's seen plenty of fights. Okay? And maybe that's something that is existent in your relationship with this person. or in your connection with this person. Again, if you may not know them, this could be a karmic connection for you. This could be like a repetitive theme within several relationships in your life. But maybe you have seen plenty of fights, and you are not that you're not bothered, but you're so conditioned to it, Leo. You're conditioned to this idea of having to sort of have volatile moments in significant relationships in your life, and you're kind of like, well, that's par for the course. That's to be expected. And that's kind of a weird thing to say, because a lot of people don't resonate with that. A lot of people are like, I've never argued with anyone I've dated. I've never had huge arguments with my family or with anyone in my family or my friends. Like, the idea of a shouting match, or the idea of not speaking for an extended period of time to someone that you love or someone that you're close to, is very foreign to a lot of people. So again, if that's not you, this part doesn't apply to you. But for those who, you've been through that and you understand that, I feel that you have this resilience to you, that you can face this person's anguish or their guilt or their storm, their funk, their fog, and you'd be like, okay, let's deal with it. Let's go in here and let's do this. Okay? So going back to them, that's where they are. They're just like in this space of acknowledging that everything I touch turns to poop, or every time I get close to someone, they hurt me. Whatever their realization is, they wear it, not they wear it on their sleeve, but it's piercing them, like, currently. Like, they might be coming to a point, Leo, where the constant presence of this fog is starting to break their heart, is starting to cause them pain. Like, maybe for the previous phase of their life, they didn't have to think about it too much. They didn't have to worry about it too much. And now it's like, oh my God, this is becoming a burden to me. This is becoming painful to me. This is becoming disheartening to me. It hurts them, okay? Are we going straight across? And if so, we would be going in opposite directions. Or counter directions is how they want me to say counter directions. Okay, so, yeah, okay. Anyway, so, next on their line is the Empress card in reverse. Card associated with the planet of Venus, which is then associated with the signs of Taurus and Libra. But that's a very loose connection. Don't hang on to that. Never hang on to the connections to the cards. It's really about the energies and the higher and lower vibrations and what have you. So, Empress reversed. Oh, Empress is a card about provisions. It's a card about taking care of and nurturing and having abundance and being sort of flush and full of vibrancy and vivaciousness and sexiness and in some cases money, or, like I said, provisions, having things provided for, like not having to worry about where the next paycheck is coming from or where the next meal is coming from. There's just this when the Empress is upright, she just has it all. She's got it all. She doesn't have to worry. And her worry then is including others in her majesty, including others in her world, basically. In the reverse, not that all of that isn't happening. What I'm feeling is this is more like this person, whoever they are, to a certain extent is like shut down, closed up shop. So maybe they have been in their past a very giving person. Maybe they have had a lot of money or resources, or they've been able to keep food on the table, no problem. But maybe now there's a certain circumstance that's come into their life, which has taken away some of that ability. Not all, but some of that ability, if not a good portion of that ability. They don't feel sexy. This is the other part of it. They don't feel sexy. They don't feel desirable. The Empress is like, I am sexy, and you all want me. And it's not ego. It's like, I could look like a toad. Not saying that this is who you're connecting with, but I'm just saying it's that confidence thing. It's that confident but not arrogant thing that the Empress would have. Is I'm beautiful. Sure, I might rate a 6. But damn it, I'm beautiful. Just having this feeling of I'm delicious in every way. But again, in reverse, I'm not feeling that. This person doesn't feel that way. They don't feel attractive. They don't feel full and luscious and vibrant and just gorgeous. And I'm saying a lot of words that might be linked to female ways of being seen as attractive, but don't take it that way. There's no gender in any of these cards, really. So it could be this person doesn't feel handsome or strong or virile or doesn't feel, how else do you describe men or male or masculine people? I don't know. My guides are so silly. They show me a picture of the brawny man, and I'm like, okay, brawny? They don't feel brawny for some of you? I don't know. Anyway, whatever ways this person might attribute themselves to be attractive, physically or otherwise, they just aren't feeling that. So they might not be taking care of themselves. That's also a part of the Empress card, is self-care, is, you know, being beautiful, looking beautiful, and making efforts to be that. And again, this person could be rated a 6 on, you know, in everybody else's book, but in their book, they're a 10, and they make efforts to make themselves look like a 10 in their eyes. You know what I mean? But reversed, not happening. Just not happening. They're not doing it. And it's, you know, again, a card ruled by Venus. So this person, in terms of their love sector or their capacity to love, not just romantically, platonically as well, just might be really ornery right now, not open to love, not open to kindness and caring and nurturing, just very much removed from that. So a little bit of misery here. And if we go back to where you started and to where they started, your second position and their second position, there is just this idea of, what did I say in the beginning? It's not opposites. God, what was the word I used? I don't remember. Anyway, it's not total opposites, but it is sort of like this adjacent difference. You know? I'm getting, it's not total opposites, is what I'm getting. That's the underpinning thing to mention to you. This is not about total opposites. It might seem that way, it might appear that way, and maybe people have told you, you and this person are opposites, but you don't feel that way, or that's not the truth of the matter. That's a perception that you or someone else might have, that on paper it looks like you two people would not get along, that you wouldn't be friends, that you wouldn't be lovers, whatever. Nah, it's not true. There's differences, but there's not this idea of total opposites. Now, ooh, Lord. Their final card on their line is the Lover's card. Card of Gemini, so there might be a Gemini in your midst who is important to you, Leo, but it does not have to be. And there's similar energy here, but then there's also different energy here. And that's fitting with Gemini being one of the signs of duality, where two things can be present at the very same time, and those two things can be in conflict with one another or could be in stark contrast to each other. So, signs of duality, Gemini, Libra, Pisces. Is there another one? I feel like there's always a fourth one, but then I'm searching in my mind. I'm like, I don't think so. Nah. So basically those three are basically the signs of duality. What do I mean by duality? Meaning the symbol of their sign. In the case of Gemini, the twins. In the case of the Libra, the scales. In the case of Pisces, two fish. There's this idea of two separate entities or two sides of an image or a symbol, again, making one total image. That's where you get duality from. That's where you get this whole two different things can be present at the same time and be counted as valid, even if they are contradictory, even if they're in conflict. So this idea behind Gemini and the twins, good twin, bad twin, good twin, evil twin, the scales with Libra, you know, imbalance or trying to find balance and trying to find fairness and centeredness, and the idea behind Pisces is two fish that are encircling one another. They're chasing the tail of the other one, and there's sort of like this confusion. That's often associated with Pisces. But anyway, so the reason I said, what did I say? That there's a similarity, but then also a difference in this card, because two things are happening. Look on the board where these are connected. This is connected here, right above your start position. So the imagery is very similar. You've got two, I'm going to show you in a second. You've got two images on either side of the card kind of coming in this meeting place, and then an angel of sorts above the two people. So there's this reflection between you and this person. There's a similarity. There's also, like I said, a difference or a conflict or whatever I said 2 seconds ago. I can't even remember it because this card is their third position, and that would mean it's corresponding to your third position, which is the Emperor card. Solo person on a throne, very decisive, being able to, like I said, be on the offense or the defense. And the Lover's card is more about, I don't know what to do next. No clue. There's this idea of indecisiveness. So, just so I can show you what I just talked about. This is going to be the longest video that I've done so far. Congratulations, Leo. You're welcome. So this is how, like, they're sort of reflective, right? You've got two people on either side of the cards, and they're sort of in this central meeting place. And look, you've even sort of got like this peak, this mountain between the lovers, and you've got that hill in between the two people and the Two of Cups. And above, you've got this angel figure with the wings spread out, kind of overseeing this connection and overseeing the meeting of these two people. So it's not the same, but it is quite similar. Like, I feel like you would have a longer list in showing what is the same about these two cards and a shorter list of what is different. Like, even the sky is blue, and okay, the people are naked on the lovers, but, you know, and whatever. I hope you get what I'm saying. So, Lover's card. This person. Ooh, come on and focus. There you go. Oh, man. There's a lot going on here. I mean, that's so funny. And I laughed so hard. This is weird. Okay, so this is the card of Gemini, the Lover's card, if you're familiar. And the reason I laugh so hard is because I'm just sitting here and I'm sitting with the energy of the card, and I'm like trying to feel it, and I'm like, what's going on? And then I said, there's so much going on here, or whatever I just said. And that is either the exact verbatim title that I gave to Gemini's reading, which I did, 3-4 days ago, or it's very similar to that title. And in their reading, they only had like 1 or 2 of these same cards, but there was a lot going on energetically with them. And I do remember this, the card of Leo was in that reading. So somebody out there in this collective of Leos is dealing with a Gemini. For sure, for sure. Anyway, there is a lot going on in this card. I mean, look at it. The color scheme, there's a lot. Like I said, there's 3 different entities. You've got this, are they in the Garden of Eden? Yes, I guess so. And you've got this mountain in the back. You just have a lot to take in with this card. And I think that kind of plays into the previous 2 cards that we talked about on the top line there, which is that there's a lot to be accounted for. There's a depth and a breadth to this person, to their energy, to their experience, to their perspective, whatever, that cannot be easily described or easily articulated. This person is complex, is another way that I could say that. They're just a complex, complicated person. And that, again, would be different from what we talked about at the beginning with you, Leo. Simple. I just want to meet somebody. I just want to have this honest connection. I want to be open and clear about who I am. I want to get clear with my energy. I want to be peaceful. I want to be mindful. I want to be calm. But I also am willing to throw down when I have to. I'm gonna issue out some tough love if I need to. All of that is very simple in a lot of ways when you compare it to this fog, funky, stormy weather background, this I don't love myself, how can I love anybody else, can I not get an amen up in here, RuPaul's Drag Race reference there. And then this complicated, very busy energy within the Lovers card, busy in terms of every which way. This person might be pulled in every which way. They are probably pretty damn confused, because another traditional or from the book interpretation of the Lovers is this idea of choice, choosing between the heart, between the head, choosing whether to go left, whether to go right. This person has more than that going on, and again, going back to that whole, there's a lot going on there, and Gemini's reading, there was a lot going on in theirs. If this is a Gemini, if you, Leo, are connecting with a Gemini, they got a lot of shit going on. So much. So much. So much. Not just because of the reading, because of what I'm feeling here. It's more than choosing between left and right. It's choosing left, right, up, down, backwards, sideways, upways, downways, inside, outside. They have so much on their plate mentally, in their mental space, emotionally, in their emotional space, in their reality, what they have to do every time they get up and go to work. They have to make so many choices. They have to choose what it's just like they might be overwhelmed. Like they might be so overwhelmed and so inundated and bogged down by having to be responsible for things that they no longer want to be responsible for anything. So even the small things, choosing what to wear to go to work in the morning, is too much for them. I hope that makes sense to you. Like, I feel we all have experienced it to some degree, or we know someone who has, where you get so stressed, you get so focused on something in your life that it makes, like I said, the simplest choices, the simplest tasks in your life seem like a burden, seem like it's so much work to get up and wash my hair and brush my teeth and put on socks and underwear. I just can't do it. Like, it's crazy, but sometimes that happens in our lives, right? So this person, regardless of whether or not they're a Gemini, by the way, but for those who have a Gemini, whatever your connection is with them, this is heavy. This is like, there's like an underlined emphasis for those dealing with Gemini. But again, if you're not dealing with a Gemini, it still applies to you. This person is just, I feel that they're not out of control, but they might be, just like I said, overwhelmed with control, overwhelmed with responsibility, overwhelmed with the reality of how they feel and think about themselves, okay? And there's a disarray going on with them, which again is not totally opposite with you, because, like I said, the Emperor, he deals with storms, he deals with, difficult situations, and he goes in there charging in. That is not peaceful. He's not charging into, a Buddhist retreat. He would be charging into a battlefield. The Temperance card, like I said, seems really serene and very calm, but actually it takes a lot of patience and focus to become that. So in your background, or somewhere in your life, Leo, there is a strain or two of stress, of disarray, of for some of you, confusion, of overwhelmed feelings and all of that. So it's not opposite. It's slightly reflective. If we were to sit here and really go back over all of this, it's slightly reflective, right? So I think, and like I said in the beginning, there's a strong divide here. Like, you can't feel what I feel, but there's a line here. As much as like I'm saying there's a line, I feel there's a line. And you both can sort of see each other. If you can't see each other, you can feel each other. But the line keeps you away from each other. Why is that line there? I don't know. What does that line represent? Or how did that line come about? I don't know. Like I said, for some of you, it could have been an argument. It could have been a falling out. It could be that, again, the line is you have never met this person because you're working on your stuff. They're going through their stuff. And, the fates are like, not just yet, guys. Sorry. So whatever line there is, this is basically, you're getting a reading for yourself, which is your bottom line. And you're also getting a reading for this other person. I think the information that I've just presented to you is informative. It's not necessarily anything that you can do. Like, there is no crossing over. As much as I have connected the Emperor to the Three of Hearts, and as much as I could connect the Temperance to the Empress, or I can connect the Two of Cups to the Lovers, there actually is no need to do it, or there is no, I wouldn't say opportunity, but there is like no crossing over of these energies. They're very much contained on either side of the line. Come on and focus the right way. Thank you. And that's it. I think that information on the top line is really just to give you clarity, to give you insight, to maybe confirm or affirm some things to you. But I don't necessarily feel that there would be any action to take or any action that you'd want to take. Okay? What's your outcome? Yeah, okay. I don't... okay, so I read this in a room in my house, and I'm looking out of a window. Half of the time I'm looking right out of a window. It's not a great image what I see, but I'm looking out of a window. So I have the card in my hand and I'm holding it here, but I'm not actually looking at the camera. I'm not looking at the monitor or anything like that. I'm just holding it and I'm looking out. And I really don't pay much attention to the board unless I put the card down and I'm pointing or whatever. So what I just said about this whole not acting, there could be an opportunity or whatever, but I don't really feel it. I laugh so hard because I'm like, what's the outcome? Two of Pentacles? Are you serious? Like, I'm not even... Anyway, so Two of Pentacles is innately, or is traditionally interpreted, as a card of not knowing what to do, not knowing how to move forward, not knowing what next step to take, not knowing how much emphasis or attention to pay to one aspect of your life versus another, topsy-turvy, wishy-washy, as you can see, juggling between these two pentacles in his hands, balancing on one foot, although I don't see that as like being totally balancing on one foot, but that's sometimes how he is described. And in the background, there's this topsy-turvy ocean scene, two boats just like at peril riding these high waves. So there's this idea of being caught, not in a storm, but caught in a situation that requires, it doesn't require. There's a chance to find, perhaps that's a perception. Right. Thank you. All right. So I'm feeling that there's this idea or this feeling of like, I could choose to do this, or there's an opportunity to do that. And that is, for lack of a better phrase, a fool's game. Because, and if this card comes up in the future, I will interpret it differently because, again, I'm an intuitive reader, not a by-the-book reader. So let's say, Leo, you're like, you have to choose A or B regarding this situation, regarding your side of things, their side of things, whatever. You can choose A or B. It's a fool's game to think choosing A or B will do a damn thing. You want to know why? Very simple. Because of that string or that entanglement, that rope, whatever the hell it is, that's making that figure 8, that infinity symbol between the two pentacles, aka between his two hands, it means that it will constantly feel like the choice, I suppose, or the navigation will never end. If you choose one, eventually the track or the rope would lead back to the other. So if you chose what's in the left hand, because it's connected in that infinity symbol to, what did I say? The left hand. So if you choose what's in the left hand, eventually you can make your way back and find the choice in the right hand. So there's this, like I said, as your outcome, I'm feeling like there isn't a choice to make. You might think there is. Other people might think or tell you that there is this choice to make. But the reality or the temperature or the theme, not the theme, but the, basically the energy around the situation is that any choice you make is going to continue this cycle. So why choose is basically what I'm feeling. Like, you may be thinking, all right, in regards to this relationship with this other person, I'm going to go speak to them. I'm going to go introduce myself to them, or I'm going to reintroduce myself to them. I'm going to send them a text message, or I'm going to, call them on the phone after not speaking for 5 months, whatever it is. That might be what you think you should do. That's choice B, or choice A, choice A, left-hand choice. Something in the ethers is saying, even if you did that, you'd end up with not the opposite, but the other choice, or you'd end up routing back to the other choice, which is to what? Not introduce yourself, not speak to this person, not reintroduce yourself to them, or somehow reject the connection in a way, or something like that. So I think the fool's choice, right, and then the opposite would be true. If you choose to stay quiet, if you choose to not introduce yourself to this person or go out there and try and meet this person, you'll eventually meet them. You'll eventually come back to talking to them. So, and it could be that. Maybe that's the nature of your relationship, Leo, for some of you, is that you are on and off again with this person. Sometimes you guys are together as friends, as lovers, whatever. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're best friends, sometimes you hate each other. There's this up and down. Yes. So that's a little nuanced. That's a little layered. That's a little harder for me to piece together because I think it will apply to all of you in different ways. But basically, as far as an outcome, it's like there is no outcome. Or the outcome is not something it's not finalized, or it's not finite. Thank you. It's not finite. It's not firm. This is a infirm, soupy, wishy-washy outcome. It's not here nor there. It's nowhere. What am I, like Dr. Seuss over here? So, blah on that, I think, is how most of you would react, is like, well, that's no use to me. And hey, I understand. There's no use. Overall energy for the month of November, Page of Swords. So again, Page of Swords, Swords deals with air signs, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Again, if you're dealing with a Gemini, and this is rung true for you somewhat, man, good luck. Anyway, Page of Swords. So Page of Swords, and again, it doesn't have to be any air sign in your life at all, but it's about the energy of the card. Page of Swords is young, stroppy, mouthy, reactionary, immature, yet kind of precocious. Kind of like a young Einstein or like a young genius. Like very smart. Very, very smart. Very intelligent. Very savvy in terms of communication, even if that communication is a little bit testy. It's still very poignant and well-spoken. So this would be a person, whether it's you or someone else, Leo, who can curse you out without using any curse words, without using any bad words, can insult you without dropping any F-bombs. Like, this is that type of person. Like, they can make you feel insignificant or invalid. Sure, invalid. Just, they can take the wind out of your sails, can have really biting commentary, right? And I think that's at play here. It could be something that you're involving yourself with. It could be what someone else is doing, whether it's that person or someone else external. But being that the Page of Swords has come in this overall energy, I feel that this is more about the naivete and the innocence or immaturity of the situation. So it could be, Leo, that you or the other person or someone else involved has a very pointed opinion about this entire situation, but that opinion is sort of underdeveloped or misinformed or somehow missing certain details. Like, the Page of Swords would be someone who speaks a lot and listens less. Has opinions, but doesn't know all the facts. You know? And the emphasis for this card today in this reading is the page portion. Pages are the youngest court cards. Next comes knight, then queen, then king. So as a page, if we're thinking of the court cards in hierarchy, this is the youngest, the most immature, the most underdeveloped, the newest. So there's this idea of more is to come out of this situation. More is to come from your side of things, from their side of things, from your energies together. There's more to develop here. It's young, it's new, it's fresh, or like I said, there might be a formed opinion on your side, on their side, on whoever's side that is actually misinformed, that actually lacks details, that actually lacks clarification and insight, that once those things come into play, this reading would be totally different if that energy was not present, if that was not kind of running through the center of all of that. And look what I just did. I just did this and I just said run through the center, and let's go back to when I said that there's a firm line here. So there's a line here. And maybe the page is the line. Maybe this Page of Swords is the line, energetically, or it could be a person. If it's pages, often pages are associated with children or young people. So children, adolescents, or someone who's a young adult, who again would be immature, not really developed, kind of coming into their own, saying more, and listening less. So there could be this issue of having a child between you and this person, or someone who's immature that's between you and this person. Not in a blocking energy, but just like sort of exists between you. So it could be that this person that you're connecting with, Leo, is an ex, and the child between you is the child that you shared, the child that you made together, and that child has a lot of opinions about what mommy and daddy, or mommy and mommy, or daddy and daddy, what the relationship is and how it should be, but that child would not have all of the details and all the insights into what adults do and what adults go through and what adults have to deal with. You're like 8 years old. I understand that you're affected by this situation, but please calm the hell down and shut up. Okay, so that was like a nice little side piece for someone. They might be a little opinionated about what's going on between you and their other parent, or you and this new person that you're dating, and it's like, calm down there, whippersnapper. You don't got all the details here. You don't know everything, so just go get on your iPad and shut your face. All right, Leo, that is going to be your reading. Like I said, this is going to be the longest reading thus far, but I think it was a good one. Like, it was pretty good, in my opinion. And again, not just subjectively, but I felt really clear with it. And hopefully you felt the same way. If you liked what you saw here, hit the like button. I would appreciate it. If you have something to say about it, leave it in the comments below. I would love to hear if this resonates for you. I want to know how. I want to know when. I want to know why and where and all those good things. And if you don't want to share that publicly, shoot me an email. I'll read it there too. And give you a response, of course. Also, you can subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. I would appreciate that. And share the video as well if there are other fabulous Leos in your life, or other people in general, that you think would benefit from hearing the message, or you'd be like, oh my God, my life. Here's my life in an hour and a half. Here's what's going on with me. You could share it with someone else. Anyway, I'll be back in 2 or 3 weeks, probably more, like 4 weeks, when I do your December 2018 readings. Until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.